Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be talking about Justice League Unlimited issue 6 by Mark Waid, Christopher Cantwell, Travis Moore and Tamara Bonvillain. We Are Yesterday continues this issue as Gorilla Grodd's plan against the Justice League is revealed, beginning with how Grodd got his new powers, courtesy of Martian Manhunter, whose abilities were sent to the gorilla in the aftermath of the Absolute Power event, where the Amazos who had taken all of the heroes' powers were released back into the world, and random citizens and random heroes got other heroes and villains' powers. When Grodd gets the powers, he's in prison, having been there since Batman, Superman and The Flash imprisoned him a few years ago, which we saw in the last World's Finest issue in the first part of this event. Waid doesn't just give these powers to Grodd, like they don't just fall into Grodd's hands by happenstance. Instead, he utilizes Grodd's own telepathic powers to great effect, as Grodd feels something there out in the world like a scream and he latches onto it, drawing it into himself, and when he does, he finds his Manhunter's powers, which allow him to blow up his prison and escape. After Grodd escapes, he plays a bit of catch-up, learning that the Justice League Unlimited has been formed, and the best way to take on such a large contingent of heroes is from within. But that doesn't stop him from deciding to bring together his old Legion of Doom teammates. Although this is where things get interesting, since Grodd finds most of his former teammates have either reformed or gone in different directions in life, so he seeks out to find evil in its prime, and his plan begins with Airwave. So finally we are getting into Airwave's part of this massive plot and how and why he's turned on the League. It's one of those lingering questions that I've had for a very long time, and I'm glad we're finally getting around to it, and so far from what I've read it seems pretty satisfying. Grodd focuses on the young hero, watching him as Superman offers him a place on the new League. Waid using Airwave, a character who is effectively a blank slate, something even Grodd references in this issue, for part of Grodd's plan is quite genius. He is a legacy character, but he's not one that's been around for a very long time, and technically this version of him is a blank slate. Like literally, he has been brought over from a dying timeline by Stargirl in that recent Stargirl Lost Children storyline. So he's like the perfect person for this. He has no like backstory or ties in this universe per se. He's totally cut off from everyone, and he's like a nobody, pretty much. Grodd begins molding the boy as Airwave responds to an attack on the International Space Station, where the villain Deathbolt is trying to blow up the station on behalf of some billionaires who have been contracted to build a newer one should the old one be destroyed. The twist here is that this entire sequence is just a ruse. None of this is actually happening, as Grodd has trapped Airwave in his own mind, making him think he is fighting this villain on the space station. Airwave's battle with Deathbolt turns when Grodd shows up, shooting the villain and aiding Airwave, appearing to him as a friend. I really like this indoctrination of Airwave. It's so much better than what I was thinking was going to happen with the character, like maybe he himself is evil because he resents the heroes forgetting him, or you know, something like that we've seen a dozen times over and over again, where you know he feels slighted in some way by these people he thought were his idols. But I like this idea that Grodd is kind of manipulating him and kind of grooming him into being his agent. And Grodd also isn't just brute force mind controlling him either. He's slowly turning him, he's kind of like making him like a Manchurian candidate like thing, where he's filling his mind with lies about the heroes and their ideals and what they actually stand for in the world. This is where I feel Chris Cantwell kind of came into the writing, as well as some stuff later on with Darkseid. Whereas here there's this psychological mind-bending stuff, which we've seen a lot across his own writing, you know, in his Iron Man series, currently in his Challenges of the Unknown, which is really great. And seeing his name here was actually quite a surprise. I didn't know he was going to get involved with this big event book. And as I just mentioned, the Challenges of the Unknown is an excellent series from him, and it's been so much fun. And if you haven't been reading it, you should definitely check it out. It's a standout in the DC All-In initiative. Interestingly, Grodd's manipulation doesn't actually properly work on Airwave. Like, he finds out that he can't just like bend this guy's mind to his will, because Airwave himself is rather a sharp individual. So Grodd decides to up the stakes, revealing he knows Airwave is dying thanks to his extended stay in time stasis. He wonders what the heroes told him when they saw he was dying. Now Airwave is shocked by this, since he had no idea he was dying, and it's implied that Grodd tells him that the heroes knew but haven't told him yet. Airwave learns that he will soon not exist thanks to tachyon poisoning, which will just effectively erase him from the timeline. Wade and Cantwell are really making a meal of Airwave's return and giving him actual consequences from that Stargirl series. Like, he wasn't just dropped into the timeline and everything was fine. There's like an actual consequence to him actually coming here, and it's this poisoning. Grodd bringing this up convinces Airwave to do anything the gorilla wants in order to get help for his condition. So Grodd takes the boy to some latent Omega energy left over from when Darkseid died back at the start of All In. This is something the villain knew thanks to Manhunter's powers, as he was able to read echoes of minds, and he learnt that this was happening. And again, this is I think where Cantwell also came in, was because he's dealing with all of the latent Omega energy left over from Darkseid in his Challenges of the Unknown series. God tells the hero to blast him into the Omega Gate, which will blast him back in time, and he will be able to destroy the League before it is too late, and in turn not just save humankind, but also cure Airwave's condition. Grodd also leaves Airwave to infiltrate the League in the present timeline, find out what their operations are, and set him up with all the information he needs, which we saw in the previous issues of the book. Airwave blasts the villain into the Omega energy, and Grodd is shot through time, where he plans to recruit versions of characters like Lex Luthor, Scarecrow, Sinestro, and many more, all who will return to the present with him after stealing several time-traveling devices from the past. The wackiness of the plot is really damn good. This is like what Wade has excelled at in the last couple of years, especially in his Batman Superman book, where all of the plots he's been dealt with, from Eclipso to the Kingdom Come stuff, it all feels like a Saturday morning cartoon, or like a continuation of the Justice League cartoon from the early 2000s. It fits that era so well, and I'm glad that we're kind of leaning into like the insane wackiness of like superheroes and time travel and alternate dimensions and stuff like that. We're not taking it all seriously. I also like this time travel plot because it's being used not just because time travel is like the popular thing now in media. It's being used in a great way to have the classic Legion, or some of the classic Legion, plus some new recruits like Scarecrow come in and not disrupt what's happening with characters like Lex and Sinestro right now in the Green Lantern books and the Superman books, where they're both kind of had a bit of a heel turn and they're turning into heroes a little bit more. So I like that it's not disrupting what the writers of those books are getting to do, and they're not having to like ride around it or, you know, make up an excuse of why Lex is suddenly evil now. It's also a cool use of the time travel device in itself. Like, the villains are using it and using it right away. This usually when you see time travel, it's used as like a kind of last-ditch Hail Mary play by the heroes, like it's the only thing they have left in their arsenal is to time travel somewhere and get help. But I like that this is the opening salvo of the villain to time travel and get friends from beyond time to help him out and take over the world. Grodd's plan seemingly goes off without a hitch, and the new Legion is brought into the present, taking a low-profile approach to attacking the Justice League by posing as Inferno, a new terrorist organization. In the present, Airwave finds out that he was duped by Grodd and the Legion, calling in backup, but at the same time, the Justice League hone in on the Legion's location, sending all Leaguers to their swampy base. Before the League actually make it there though, Grodd takes all the information Airwave collected from his mind, giving him access to everything the Justice League has done in the last couple of years, from the Atom Project to the new Watchtower. The Legion all want to either kill Airwave or have his mind erased, but Grodd has need for his tachyon charge for something. So when the enraged Airwave attacks Grodd for tricking him into hurting his idols, Grodd just fucking vaporizes him, turning him into a scorch mark on the Legion of Doom HQ floor. The quote-unquote death of Airwave was pretty surprising, as I assumed that he would be used against the League a few times before either dying in some accident, the Legion decide to just kill him just to get rid of him, or he breaks the mind control and maybe sacrifices himself. Grodd just killing him though is truly evil, and really kind of one of the evilest things he's done. Like, he manipulated this kid, feeding him lies, preying on his insecurities as someone who was kind of like a man out of time, and he used him and then just killed him, just disposed of him. It's really fucking evil, and I love that Wade went there with Grodd, really selling him as kind of a big threat to the heroes and the world. Like, they've actually positioned him as like a pretty strong threat throughout this entire series so far. Grodd's mention of needing his tachyons though makes me think this death will be undone. Like, maybe he didn't die per se, but was sent to a different dimension, transformed into these tachyons or something. I kind of do expect him to come back at some point, like a third act sort of return to help the heroes or something, but I can also see Wade wanting to actually kill him off, since they make a point at saying that he was a blank slate character. Like, he didn't really belong in this timeline because he was brought over from a dying one. So I could definitely see him being killed off just because he's a character who can be killed off. He's not like a deeply rich and interesting character. He was a blank slate. Before the smoke can clear of what was left of Airwave, the Justice League arrive, but the Legion of Doom are ready. Using special guns Grodd has given them to blast the League and capture them. Justice League Unlimited issue 6 really broke open Wade's big summer event story. The focus on Airwave's manipulation and how Grodd used the young hero to make his moves and bring the past Legion into the future was such a refreshing route to take for an event. Where the time travel aspect would usually be the main draw, time traveling heroes fighting against time traveling villains. It's kind of set up like that because we see that in so much media nowadays. I'm looking forward to the League getting to fight the Legion again, but I really want to see more focus on Grodd like what we got in this issue, and getting to see, the way he processes through like setting up a plan and everything was just really so cool. And just the idea of a giant telepathic gorilla being the main antagonist for a DC summer event is just a cool idea. That's total comic book schlock, and I love it. I'm going to give this issue an 8 out of 10.